Hello everybody, what a lovely day. We've had fantastic weather. I just wanted to tell you about something that really is going to change everyone. Every single human being on the planet, every animal, everything. So today we've had the heart activation. And it's two activations, it's the lungs and the heart. The lungs have now had everything cleared inside of them. And they have carried so much awful pain that people have witnessed, have felt, and it's the pain of terror, of sheer terror, when you can't get away from it, you can't go anywhere, you can't be helped, and you're stuck fast, enduring for most of the time of your life terror. And this has held the lungs in an awful place. And the people who have actually gone through this terror, and it goes across the board in all sorts of places, when they've come through it, their body is still trapped. It's very hard to function properly. Function they have to, because the world travels like a conveyor belt or a steam train at full speed. And no one's allowed ever to even think, I must have a rest. But that's going to come to a grinding halt. Because to clear all of this terror in the lungs, everybody, and I do mean everybody, there are people who exact terror every day and get so much fun and enjoyment out of it. But they won't get that now. Over time, it will take a bit of time. It's like an exercise. You have to learn. And your body won't be learning it, because your body always knew it should never have been there. And that's why the lungs have held the terror, because it shouldn't have been there. But that memory of what terror is spread out as a collective. So for human beings, it's very hard not to know what terror is, or a feeling of, oh my God, I don't want to do that. That's going to be awful. True enough, it will be. But that is now going to end, because the lungs themselves now don't feel that. It is just a memory. Sure enough, there are people who are still trapped in it, who are still under the control of other people, who can't get away from them, and will still have suffered terror. But it will just be terror. It won't affect the lungs anymore. They will start to breathe, and people will eventually know what love truly is, because the body is now going to take over and run as the human body should have done. There will never be the soul or any other foreign aid coming in and actually taking over the body and saying, this is what we're going to do. I'm going to use the hands to harm people. I'm going to use my mouth to harm someone. I'm going to use my thoughts and actions to harm someone. That's going to grind to a literal halt within the next year to a year and a half. Your body will force you, literally, to stop, whether you like it or not. The body is the most amazing super in intelligence, and to trap super intelligence and hold it stuck for at least the last 4,000 to 5,000 years, why people rape and pillage the earth daily. Slavery isn't just something that happens to a certain creed or race of people. It happens to all of us. We have all been on our knees and put into slavery by a very few groups of people. Some of those families that started this awful slave trade, power, fear, terror in everyone's lungs and hearts, you may think died a few thousand years ago. But if you know anything about electricity or energy, nothing dies. Your body dies, but not your makeup. That stays alive, either through those families or branching out into other families. There's chaos at the moment because those families are grappling with power. They're taking other people's money and power because they know they're about to be revealed, and they don't want to be revealed unless they have an armory to save their souls. But that will no longer happen because we're not going to be working on the ray of us. We're going to be working on the ray of human beings, animal connection, mountain connection, sun, the stars, the rain, forests. That's true nature. Our body is made of true nature. It is one with everything that lives. There's no such thing as a God. There's no such thing as Christianity or Islam or any of the other ones, Buddhism, Judaism. There is no such thing. They were man-made. Anything man-made is going. I was brought up as a Catholic, so I know a little bit about the Catholic Church. Well, I certainly know the principles of it because I've had that pain and torture spread through me. But that is going to come to an end. Superpowers will come to an end. It will come down to the books that were originally written on how to feed everyone, how to help everyone, how to help people heal and guide to rich pastures where they can feed and feel protected. They were the original books. There was a thing, Christianity and paganism, or whatever you want to call them, everyone said thank you to the water, the air, the sun, the rain, the wind, the ground, whatever they ate, they said thank you for. And they prepared the soil with love, and they put goodness into it, and they took goodness out, and everyone had enough to eat. Everyone knew how to forage, how to make this, how to make that, and everything was shared openly. Now that the lungs and heart are over terror and fear and control and know that they can rest easy, people will soon start picking that up. They will know the difference between what true love is, which only comes from within. It cannot come from outside. No one can buy true love. It's absolute rubbish. They will join with people who have true love in them. There will still be many millions and millions of people suffering with trauma, suffering terror, and they will need help. But when they feel they can ask for it, they will come and ask for it. It takes a long time to heal trauma. This is real trauma. It takes a long time to heal when things have gone drastically wrong. More often than not from the people that should have had it. The body is in terror. And for that it needs to see love. And that love cannot come from outside, can only come from within. Once they connect with a person who definitely has love in abundance, then they'll feel the kindness with somebody touching their hand, putting their arms around them and say, I've got you. They don't need to say, I love you. When the body is in contact with another hand or another person, it will know good, great, phenomenally fantastic, or not. And the more people that eventually recognise the nots, they'll not go near those people. And they're going to be very surprised at who the nots are going to be. And that even goes for the people at the top who have been leading the world into devastation, starvation, not having enough, putting people out to pastures where there isn't anything growing and they surviving. Indigenous tribes having all sorts of amazingly awful things happen to them because they know how to live off the land. Well, we now need to live off the land. And that's going to have to change in the next 7 years. 7 years. And by that time, we will literally all be living off the land. So we've got now till 7 years. So it's not going to be great up until 7 years. It's going to be great now. But after that, that's it's gone. So Indigenous people are going to be very interesting to know and learn from. But we have to be careful, because if we go near Indigenous people, we all carry illnesses and diseases. And if we wipe them out, it's going to be a very long, tough road for the people that cannot talk to them without them standing in front of them. I can talk to people who are long gone. And I have a lot of Indigenous people who come to me to ask for something to be healed. And they'll bring somebody who won't look anything Indigenous at all. I had a lady come to me a while back. I met at a psychic fair. She was helping a friend out. And I was doing distant healing. And next minute I had 2 Aborigine men come and stand either side of me. And they were telling me about something. They were telling my body, the person that I am when I'm working. And they asked me if I had a shaker stick, and it's all painted in Aboriginal painting, artwork. And the next minute I'm talking to this lady about removal of their children. And I could not stop crying. The pain in my heart was unbelievably sad and painful. My crying was uncontrollable, and they were telling me what was going on and what was happening, what at different stages of my tears, at different stages of watching my child be taken away from me, which I couldn't do anything about. And these people couldn't do anything about it. And I was thinking, I'm talking on camera to this distant healing lady. I said, I've got these lovely Aboriginal men, and they're telling me about this history, and they're telling me about this awful crime against humanity which went on. Their children were just taken away from them. I said, well, you and I both have children. I said, I couldn't imagine what that would be like, standing on my doorstep and my children, who are very young, are going to be taken away from me, and I have no right. I can't fight back. I'm shot at if I'm fight back, or I'm whipped and hit until I'm on the ground beaten. And they're taking my children. They don't understand my children. My children don't understand them. We don't live like they do. We don't live like white Australians. And these people coming don't live like general people anyway. They're super rich. They move cattle around. My family aren't cattle. But we're being treated like it. It was horrendous reading for somebody. And then I type up the manuscript of what's gone on. I go through the video and I type the whole thing up so that the person gets not just me talking. I have more background to add to that they obviously can't see. So I put that in. And then we sit and have a Zoom together and talk about what went on. And this person, I said, what's your connection to Australia? And she said, oh yeah, it's not my family particularly, but it's a family down the line. And I said, and do you know about this? She said, oh yeah. One of the uncles down the line on the other side of the family, he was the man that went round and gathered all the people up and sent the children away. I mean, the conversation was so matter of fact and so far removed from the pain and sorrow and horror that I had lived through, why I was doing this healing for these men, that it took me away. It took my breath away. So although people know of that history, it's just, oh yeah, well, it happened. No. That isn't how it goes. That isn't how it goes at all. Wow. Oh, well, it happened. It has nothing to do with me. But no, it is something to do with you, because I wouldn't have been able to work on that had it not been something to do with you. I am brought people by the other side because I've already started healing on something of the past. Then from that, distant healing, whatever it is, they then come in, whoever it is. Could be tribe men from all around the world, could be now. Generally it's not now, generally it's very ancient healing, but that history is repeating itself again and again and again, and unless that is healed at the point of healing, which most people have not healed, that's why it's still there, still being allowed to happen. Nobody is less, and that needs to be pointed out. There is no one less than you. If you've got a gun in your hand, you have an advantage. A dagger or a sword or a knife. You've got an advantage over someone who hasn't got that. But that's all you have. You have no more intelligence than them. In fact, you can't have much intelligence in the first place. But we've grown used to it. The intelligence is in the body itself. And most people carry arms in their hands, guns, knives and things, because they've been terrorized and put through this themselves. And they're ready for anything. But the point is, you come across people who are nowhere near that. They may have had all that, but they've given that up. And they're living and trusting in themselves to be calm, live in a calm state and try and get themselves better. And then they chance upon each other. But they're not lesser than you. You can't take it off them, because you might take it off them as a person now, but you don't take the history away, and you certainly don't heal anything. And I have met some terrible, terrible incidences that I've had. Well, I haven't had to go, but it's my job to go. And I don't say no to it. So spiritually, I go a lot of places. There are many of us who came back to learn pain and trauma and have very difficult lives. And because we stood up for ourselves and maybe changed our lives by making that life easier, but not easier in living in this moment. So I've sacrificed a lot myself. But I have saved my life, and I saved my two boys' lives. And I'm proud of what I did. And although I don't come across as a strong person, I'm extremely strong. And I have very high values. And I have to keep to myself when I see things that I know are wrong and are definitely out of line. And they are normally very ordinary things, because lessons are learnt by those people. I'm not there to change their lessons. They're going to learn them themselves. And I'm not going to heal them either. The main healing had to go back in time to stop a lot of this nonsense that goes on. It's not healed all of it completely, but on the vast majority of the people who are crying out for saving, crying out for their terror, their inhumanitarian treatment that they've had, has allowed the lungs to tell me that terror is at the heart of it all. And the lungs, unless they are completely free to a point where the lungs can say to the heart, it's okay, we can step outside now and we can energize ourselves out of the human body, knowing that most people will greet us with open arms and we can reconnect. But the most important organ of the body is the heart, and that had to be protected. And it was protected by the lungs and the rib cage around the lungs. And that energy is now going to jump out at least 4 foot of outside of yourself, for those that really do know, care and love. And the resonation of that is complete and utter calmness. So if you find you're in the presence of someone and you feel very calm, your body will definitely tell you, then stay with that person, because they're going to teach you a lot about life, even if you have no idea what it's going to be. Well, you'll certainly know the difference when you go home or anywhere, because if that calmness goes, you know you want that calmness. You felt it, you can have it. You can aspire to become it. Very recently, I met a very lovely friend I've had for years and years. All through my own trauma, she's helped me unbelievably so. And I met somebody through her. And this person's had an aneurysm on his head and then several strokes. So the left side of his body doesn't want to work very well. But through his help of his sister and himself, he's pushing boundaries. And when he goes for physio, he has come on leaps and bounds in 2 years to be walking, talking. He couldn't swallow. That had to be retaught to him to swallow again and get the brain back functioning. He's had all sorts of work done and takes a huge amounts of medicine, which is phenomenal. But when we met, he taught me lots of things I've been teaching over the last 20 odd years. They're now teaching in hospitals through physio and things. And one of them is, if you've got something that doesn't work properly, or definitely like leg or a hand that's not operating as it would normally, I've always said to people that your other leg, if it's good, or your other hand, if it's good, if you put them together, you sit together and have them on the table or with your legs, you're sitting down, and say to the leg that's not functioning, the leg that works, so rub the leg that works and say, you've got a job to do here. Your partner in crime on the left side or the right side needs your help. It needs to be reminded, because unfortunately the trauma that it's suffered isn't allowing it to function anymore properly. The messages aren't getting received. And although the messages are going to go over, outside the skin and into the skin, instead of under the skin, we're now going to work differently. We're now going to work outside of the body, going into it. And I want you to start pairing up and getting on with it. And when I was talking about this, we were talking about this man's hand, because it's all like that. And he can't open it up at all. I said about this, and he said in hospitals they put your hand in a box and do a mirror image of the hand that's all right. And the hand that's not working believes it's the hand that's all right. And that's how they get that to slowly, very slowly. It's going to take a long time, because the hand's at the end of an extremity, as you know, and the same with the feet. It's got a long way to go. But if you look at the connection, not through the body, but outside of the body and tapping straight in, it will work. Because that's how information is received, from outside of the body, comes in. So it's like you're going to hardwire your nerve system from obviously where it works. So if you know it works well on, let's say this arm goes up and that arm doesn't. So that's the point of working. The brain to there is working, or down the back of the neck, and it works to there. That all works. So if you looked at yourself and thought, well, this information somewhere from here isn't working, but I know this is, then that's what I want to connect. And one of the funniest and strangest things he said was when he's working like that in physio on the arm that works, and he's looking straight ahead and he's watching himself in the mirror doing this mirror work to get the mirror work to work, he can see this arm going up and down. He can physically see it going up and down out the corner of his eye, but it's stationary. And when he's mentioned this, they say, no, that's normal. When you're going like that and you're saying arms up, so technically that arm should be raising itself with that, because you're asking it to. That's what should be happening. So the brain knows the arm is happening, but the skin part is not working. To lift the arm up and the bones and all those bits are not working. The electrical blueprint is, but you're not working, as if you're dead. And that's the bit that's going to take time to get up, and pain. You'll have to go through some pain thresholds to get there. So it might hurt a bit, but it will happen. So if you connected in your mind all the information coming to this arm and said, I want that information to be duplicated and taken out of me and then reinserted here, or even in my spine down. I want it to grow. You've got it here working, because I can see it. I know it works because I'm lifting my arm up. I can use it. Pick up a cup of tea. Keep thinking it. I want that to go there. It is there somewhere, but just is not being relayed. But it just needs to be relayed through the skin. Then you keep massaging it as you're asking for that to happen. Put your hands at the back of your neck. You don't need to know where those information highways are, but you do need to say, I love you. I got you. You and I are a team, a big team, a team of fantasticness. And already, with the help of all of the people out there who are, helping you survive, like this young lad, they're helping him get going. Funny enough, I'm doing this and I can feel my nervous system kicking in because my hand's going numb. Prior, I didn't have anything wrong with it, but that's the whole point of being a healer. I don't have to have anything wrong with me, but that's how I heal, by that. So by stimulating the back and really getting into the muscle there, I don't want to press too hard, because if I press too hard, God knows what will happen. We already know this doesn't work, but we need it to work. It's got to work. We know it works. While I'm doing this, I'll tell you a really funny story, because I can feel my nerves coming in online. So I'm going to carry on doing this. When I worked in the 70s, I worked for an aviation company. I was an electromechanical inspector, working with PC boards and all sorts of other things. I met a man there called Les, and he'd been in World War II as a soldier, and he'd lost both his legs. He had a disabled car, and he had wooden legs, because in the 70s they didn't have what they have now. They had wooden legs, and he had to swing his body around like that to move. And he did it really well. I mean, amazing, considering both his legs were made of wood, with wooden feet on the end. But he could stand upright and walk. Sometimes he had a stick with him, but not always. He could manage quite a bit. It was amazing, And he used to say to me, we'd sit together sometime. I'd be inspecting his work, and I'd be sitting with him, and we'd be chatting. And he'd say to me, do you know what, Carol? My knee itches. Just below my knee, I've got this itch. And unless I scratch that area, it won't go. And it is extremely painful, because it always happens when I'm out or working like now. What I have to do is I have to take my trousers off, remove my legs, my wooden legs, and then look at the area. I know roughly where my knees were, and scratch nothing, and it goes. It's called phantom limbs scenario, or syndrome, I suppose they call it now. And the itch won't go until he scratched it. He said, even my feet, he said, they're the worst ones, but I can't do anything about it, because you think, oh, well, I'll scratch the wooden feet. But that doesn't make any difference. It's your actual legs. And it's so painful. But, he said, even if I went to the toilet, I couldn't get my legs off, because they have to be straight, and I have to be sitting. And I have to take my trousers off. I'm very limited in what I could do. I mean, he would then sit there and we'd be laughing our heads off about it. But I thought, crikey. He said, yeah, lots of people are in, they got these phantom, and we talk about them. But until I can get somewhere like home, where I'll be safe taking my trousers off in public, I have to put up with it. And it is excruciatingly painful, because that itch just goes on and on and on. And he said it's painful also, because it's sort of a nervous thing as well. So it's not just an itch. It's a whole nerve thing that needs touching. So, you know, it just goes on and on and on. And there's no cure for it. And he said, I can also feel my legs. I can actually feel them. They're not there. So there are many people, because they don't suffer with it, they haven't been through something, they doubt it and ridicule you. Well, they can stop that now, because once your lung kicks in and starts telling you what's right and wrong, I'm going to tell you, you're in for a huge amount of shock, because your lungs and your heart also work a whole part of your body. So all emotion is your lungs. So every single emotion you receive and throw out there is in your lungs. And if they, as they are now, have been fed up with you feeding trauma to other people, which your lungs hold, there's no such thing as giving something to someone and you not having it. Absolutely no such thing. Your body's storing it. You're going to start feeling what that feels like. But you will not be able to get away from it. Unless you want to kill yourself, I suppose. But it's not going to happen. And even that won't happen. They might, I don't know what's going to happen, but they could completely cut off all sensation, all emotion, all memory. But it's all in your lungs, so that your heart can be free. Because none of this should have ever happened. Your lungs should always have been able to be free. And this has nothing to do with breathing. You can carry on breath exercise and things, but that's actually nothing to do with it. You had to heal the trauma. And terror is the end stop. And loads of people have died through terror. And there are many more thousands and millions of people who have had terror. They've never been able to get away from it. That goes for children, babies, children who have survived and lived through terror. Wars can cause terror naturally, because the nature of the beast is there to cause terror. And terror feeds. People get off on terror. But what they don't know is they're damaging themselves, and their payback is it sits in their aura. They got some really heavy aura. They knew it was heavy in the first place, but now we're talking seriously heavy aura. So the chaos we're watching on the outside is only going to get worse. And there will be a lot of people caught up who shouldn't be there. And I am already experiencing people come to me and ask me, how do I get out of this? And unfortunately, I have no idea as such. They're coming because they know it's wrong. They were set up because they reached a certain amount of money, which is generated and generated and generated, and they can't get out of it. But it's all changing. It's going to be very interesting. And I would say to anyone, do not gloat at anybody. Do not point fingers at anyone who might start to fall, who is very wealthy and has a lovely lifestyle, and they've worked damn hard to be wealthy, and they deserve that money and they deserve that lifestyle. But they don't deserve to be in terror. And that terror isn't your nasty comments and you're hunting them down. The terror has already happened from above. There is a lot of terror above. And now it's coming down. They want their money to stay high, because they know that when they're high, they're virtually, well, in fact, they are untouchable. To be honest, these people sit up, not the ones that are having terror thrown at them, but the other people, they have to have all the money in the world. They have to have it, because they need to be completely and utterly untouchable. They need to be able to corrupt. They need to be able to harm. It's so It's so sad. And I have actually have people come to me from the other side who have gone a long time ago, and their world is falling apart around them, and they need to be saved. Incredibly, they need to be saved. Or they need to be moved somewhere. And it's the somewhere where the worlds are splitting up. So this movement that lots of people are being told about to raise their vibration and raise their, I don't know how to say it really, they're raising their vibration. The world is splitting up. So the human world that you live in at the moment and you see as planet Earth, one, that won't be one anymore. Our world, the world of the heart and the lungs, and of no trauma, of no pain, of nothing. I mean, there's a long way to go on some people who should never, ever, ever have been in the situation they ended up in. And their terror is off the scale. They should never have been there. They had fingers pointed at them, had people drag them down, and they went in to all sorts of places, and they've come out and they cannot function. They will be saved, passe, because it's all there. People can read it, not just me. People can read what's going on in them, and they will be moved to where they need to go. So this planet we live on, we call Earth, is a little tiny cell of a massive Earth, and that's where we're going back to. But we couldn't go back there until the lungs and heart had opened up to say, we're coming home. We're free. We have no more of this in ourselves. So as we drive forward to go into where we belong and be welcomed home, we're shedding as rapidly as possible. There are going to be spits and starts. We will have time to breathe, I tell you, but there will be times when all of us go, oh my God, what's going on? As our bodies rapidly change. And the faster you can release trauma and pain and stop saying anything about anyone, don't even look at anyone and think it. Because you don't know who is real and who is fake. And trust me, when people are fake, they become the best con artists on the planet. You will notice eventually, but not unless you're near them. So don't let your light suddenly flicker on, because the dark side, if they see that flickering light, they're going to be after you. Don't become that. Not at the moment. There's lots and lots of work to be done for a lot of people. And there are lots of people who are very, very, very high up who can easily pay for the whole world to be working for them. Well, in some respects, they already have. It's pulling away from that that's the difficult part. And they're making it extremely difficult for the masses that don't earn anything to pull away from it. Where people will lose houses. They'll lose their jobs. They'll lose houses. But there will be people who say, no, it's all right, come on, I've got room, you come and live here. People will be doing that on a regular basis because they know in their selves they don't want that happening, and they can see the good in someone, and they're going to go, no, come and live with us. This is how it used to be. Even in wars, people don't know anyone, but they'd see them losing a house and they'd sleep in rough. What are you on the street for? I thought you lived round the corner somewhere, because they recognise them from their town or where they live. Oh, it was all burnt down and blown up and we got nowhere to live, and think, well, I've got a floor in my room. Why don't you come and stay with me? Their house might be full up with people and every room has got 6 people in it. But they've got something. They've got a community, and that is where we're all going to go. So tribes will start hitting on tribes that understand it. There will be a mix-up to begin with, because power has to control anything. But if those other people who are starting to be controlled by power and know it's not going to, know they need to get out of it because that's not what they're like, they will open their doors to let people in who are fine. And the house will have half and half in it. And eventually the other half will go. But it just takes people with guts. We need people with guts who honestly can stand by their flag and say, no, I've got the flag of me. I love me. I'm going to save people. It's going to harm everybody, and it won't harm them because I'm going to make sure I sacrifice. But there aren't many people that do that. They all want comfort. Oh my God, no, I'm going to lose my house. Oh, oh no, I'll let my husband and my mum, I'll let my wife beat up the kids. No, I want a good house. I've got this, That won't happen. Who wants a bloody good house if someone's getting beaten up in it? Or somebody turns around and says, wait till you get home and your father deals with you because you can't deal with them. So one, you've got an abuser telling their children, when you get home, your father's going to deal with you, or whoever they want to deal with them. So we have the abuser who's going, oh yeah, let's go for tea and coffee. But she's the abuser because she's just told the kids they're going to be sorted out by the person at home. When the person at home comes in, tired, fed up with day's work, oh, guess what happened? Bah, 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 bah. And they get beaten up by a grown-up. Real punches by a grown-up. So they live with two abusers. People want to see abusers. They want to see people literally at the top of the tree and they think, look at that abuser. That's all, they've gone to prison. They abuse their families. But most abusers are everyday people. Now, you've got some clearing up to do. And I want people to think, what were you like as a parent? Were you like that? Did you threaten your kids? Because that isn't the way to carry on in life. And it's interesting because as a single parent, they've got to deal with it all. So if you don't deal with it when it's actually happening, it's no use dealing with it later. And single parents learn that and know it. It's really tough being a single parent, whether you're male or female. It doesn't matter. It's tough. You have to take all the decisions. All the weight's on your shoulders. But if you're in a couple, quite often, it's dumped on someone else's shoulders so the other person can think, I'm really good. Well, you're not really good. And your lungs know that. It's all been accounted for and it's all in your lungs. And now it's going to be spat out. You're going to be spat out. So be really careful. If you want healing, I suggest you go and find some amazing healers. You don't want mediums particularly. You want healers. And let's see if they can get you healed. If not, because you're terrified of them knowing the truth about you, you go yourself. Join retreats. But when you're there, do not spout how good you've been. Clear what's inside of you. But you have to you can only clear that type of thing through love. So unless you really, really love yourself, it will never go. This is where people are now going to have to learn that the most important person is in themselves. And unless they can love that, they will have no chance of healing. And there are many retreats springing up all over the place. There are spiritual fairs all over the place. I suggest you start going fast, as you only have a year and a half left. And it'll be burn time before a year's out, I can tell you. So I would say to anybody out there, you can visit mediums. There are good mediums out there. I mean, I do psychic work when I'm healing to get to the bottom of a story, but you can't blame anyone. You were there, you've done nothing about it. Clean it and heal it. Accept whatever it is you want to say about yourself. See how you get on, because it's only you that can heal these parts. It's super, super important to get on with it. When you dump your rubbish on someone else and make them do your bidding, they are left not only with, they might be dealing with trauma themselves, they are left with your crap, but you actually have it in your body as a box, because that's why you do it. And if you've ever looked at single women like me who have left a marital home because they were abused and thought I'm weak, and then you've trounced me, and there are many people out there who have done that to me. I've worked through it all, and I stood by myself with my children. I've cried, I've been on my knees, I've screamed, I've had no money. I had one lovely friend, she actually left me food. because I had no money to feed my kids with. And I tell you, it's hard. I know what it's like to be tough. I know what it's like to be poor. I know what it's like to be in trauma and terror. I know what it's like to be a single parent. I know what it's like to make a life and death decision. There are lots of things I have learnt through my lifetime. I don't have any certificates for it, because when you get the certificate, it's pain-free. How the bloody hell can you get a certificate for psychology when it's pain-free? What is that about? How many people have paid to take courses in things that cause trauma and they're pain-free? Honestly, those people want to go and get their money back big time, because you've been ripped off. And you're ripping off other people. Honestly, I am shocked. I have met people and thought there is not an ounce of that person who loves them. They don't love themselves, but they do love a nice car. And they tell you about it. Oh, I'm about to get an A something or other Audi. Oh, I can't wait. You know, my husband's buying it. Oh, girls. What's an A8 Audi? What is it? I don't know. It's got 4 wheels and a roof on it. It was made by somebody in a manufacturing plant for peanut money, but someone is going to seriously spend some money on it. What's that doing to the heart, the body? Yes, you can have the most beautiful things in the world that are made with sheer love. And those people making it are earning equal, if not more than you. And they are also living in a beautiful house and have beautiful cars. That's equal. But there is a price that people have paid to get where they are. And if that's being nasty to other people and trouncing them, they know about it. I know about it too, because I've been on the other receiving end of it. Eventually I moved, not particularly because of that. I moved for a better life. My God, am I reaping the rewards of that? But I have a better life. But I stood by myself when I went. And to have your friends taken away from you by half-truths and lies is disgraceful. But I know myself that not one of those people is anywhere near being healed. They all live the same boring, saturated fat, money life. Good for them. Good for them. I don't. I still live the same life I had before. I'm going to laughing about it because it is quite funny. But I've made sure I work with the human body to heal it. That's what I came here for, to heal the human body with many, many other people who have sacrificed everything to get to this point. And this point is now almost, I won't say it's at completion, we've still got a long way to go. There's lots of things that still have to be healed, and there are lots of people that come to me for that. There's a long way to go. There are thousands, millions of people who need help. They will be able to help themselves, 20, 30% of it maybe, but the rest of it needs a lot of work doing to it. So let's see the collective of the whole planet learning skills. If you want survival skills, and it will be handy to have them, but they're plant-based. Growing plants, feeding the animals, not killing them, feeding them properly on real food that you would eat. And they have nice beds to lay down on. You make straw beds, you give them proper housing, and you don't whip them. All animals talk. I've worked with horses before that have been taken away from other horses and just sold on because, well, it's a commodity. It's not an animal, is it? You don't love it. You have a horse, you just buy it and sell it. Who cares about it? Someone's making money out of it. Why should they care? I met a horse that was trying to kill itself, doing a very good job. It was using its thyroids to kill itself. And then I said, get the vet in, and when the vet comes, ask them to check the thyroids, because you'll find that's what's causing the horse to kill itself. And it's killing itself because you've beaten it. I can see a man hitting it with a stick, a really long, heavy stick, and he's literally thwacking it on his backside. That horse is in trauma, terror. And this horse showed me images after images after images, and then explained its life. And I was crying. I was holding it and crying. That's no way to treat someone. And yet that person believed they were nice and kind people, and people around thought they were lovely. But I'm watching imagery that tells me completely different, and I said it to them, and they were absolutely shocked. I said, I know what you're like, and he knows what you're like, and you're changing it. You put this horse with a horse that's very gentle and kind. Think about it before you do something with an animal. How do you really want to be treated? How do you really want to live? And if you want to live by being beaten, but don't beat the animal, because really you want to be in the room with that animal so it can kick you a few times and be nasty to you back. That's the truth of it. And you've got 7 years-ish, because we're not going to live human time. The time of the clock, the 24-hour of the clock, that's gone. We're going to live human time, planet Earth time. Science is grappling to understand the Earth. Grappling, because so much information is now coming in. Electronics are changing off the board. If your brain can function at rapid pace, and AI can, surely that would tell people we do not live in this amount of time in day and night time with our lovely hour to ourselves, when our brain is working phenomenally fast. And people say, oh, people used to live to 500 or 600 years old. Well, of course they did. They were living at human time. They weren't living at our time. So they would have died at 70 and lived 700 years or something like that. Because they were living at the right time. So they knew how old they were. Not some man-made up time. It would give everyone a far bigger idea of the world if they really knew how old your body was and how it ages. Because you'd know exactly what you could fit in and what you could do and what was accomplishable. Instead of waiting till you're old and then you realise the best years of your life were really when you were younger. And most of it was at school. School is your outside world. You don't need to go to school unless you want to be a scribe or an illuminati. Well, who wants to be? I mean, there can only be a few of those. You write the books and then people go and read them in libraries. You don't have to be any more than that. But your body is showing it all. I find it very interesting what the body can do. It's the superhuman intelligence that makes people who are in tune with it and can run with it superhuman. Anyway, that's me for now, because I just wanted to let you all know that your lungs and your heart are free to roam. So you're free to get rid of terror now. You're free to start healing up all sorts of things. Terror will definitely take a while to get to. You might not even know you've got terror in your body, but you will have. Everyone has. And when you hit terror, especially if you live quite a nice life or just a regular life, that you'll know about it. Because you will feel terror for a little while. It won't last long, but you will feel it. So try to clear as much stuff as possible. Get into a tribe, and then you can share the terror of terror without being into a terror zone. You won't be in terror. You won't be surrounded by it. And it's all going to go. Masses going on. Lots of things that are going to be really quite amazing. People will be able to find sanctuaries all over the place. It'll be very easy to find yourself in a safe place. At the moment, you wouldn't know where to go for a safe place. But there will be loads of places up and running where people are safe. And anyone who goes against that grain, because 24/7 you will be looking at someone knowing you're in a safe place. 24/7. Very, very hard for most people who are con artists or anyone to be shining a safe place 24/7 of their lives. Anyway, on that one, until I can pop back up again, see you later.